Oh, we out here.
Yeah, we're out here. We gotta wait for some people to chime in. Josue, get that link out there. Here, let's see.
Shades are killing them, though.
Who are they killing? No, I like
just
it.
kidding.
Yeah, man.
Just
No, there's
kidding.
nobody in yet. We'll just keep letting them
No, but this is
pile
good.
in.
You're gonna post this whole thing. People are gonna be like, "Damn, look at Sway."
Sway's looking
Josue
sharp.
feeling himself with the shades
He's
out.
out in L.A.
It's the
He's
LA life.
Yeah.
It's the LA vibes.
Living the LA life. I mean, talking about LA. Well,
No, do you? You're leading this one, right?
Yeah,
That's what
if
you
you
said. Go ahead, do you?
if you guys don't know us, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish we're gonna try to rehash the conversation we had last night to a certain extent, and I wish we actually no, we shouldn't have gone live last night, but we're gonna.
Yeah, I wish we did, but we were gonna
give
kill
you
each
guys
other.
we're gonna give you guys the edited version because
Yeah.
Nick was really fired up for a number of reasons, and one of the reasons has to do with a Lakers legend, Big Game James Worthy.
Ooh, little game
There you go.
James. Yeah, man.
Little Game James. Oh.
How dare he troll the Celtics media, especially Cedric Maxwell? I mean, come on. There's enough footage out there of Max, right? And like, here's the drill. I sound like Joe Biden. Here's the drill. Here's the drill. You know, this rivalry's been going on forever, but like this media rivalry now, I say how dare worthy. I actually love it, dude. I love it.
We're here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're as much here for that as the teams on the court. Now, talking Celtics Lakers last night, we'll get back to Worthy. Sway.
We'll tie it all in.
Staples, crypto, whatever the hell they're calling. We're still calling it Staples or is it crypto?
Last night was the last night we're gonna do. All right,
So Clippers
now
and
today, yeah, as the Clippers, as we prepare for Clippers matchup, it is now the Crypto.com.
So the Crypto.com Center. First observation. I've not been there in 2 years. Kobe's thing was the last time we were there. Man, those fans. I'm gonna give them credit. I'm gonna throw them a little. Fans were rockets, even in the expensive seats. I mean, we were down courtside, and you know their season ticket holders are there. You know, it's corporate tickets. Usually LA, they show up late, they leave early. Nah, man, this and the Crypto Center is quite an arena, quite a venue with quite a game presentation. But the game I didn't like to see, Sway, I almost called you Max, was LeBron James. I don't know how to word this. I think you should word it.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I mean, the bench.
I want you to share all these feelings
Yeah,
you were giving me. You were sharing with me last night. So
Yeah, I fell asleep. I was
they know what
talking
you're
in
talking
my
about.
sleep.
We
Yeah,
talked about it
the bench.
briefly
I
on
don't
the
know if
Celtics post game show, so they know.
Yeah, I don't know if they're talking about it back in Boston or wherever you guys are listening, but grab the link up right off YouTube. But the bench, LeBron he was trolling. I don't think the players realized it. I understand now. It started with Grant Williams doing a little trash talking, which I like, and then Jalen and Peyton Pritchard, who I love these guys, but they look like they were like awestruck. You know, one thing you know, when we were coming in the media, right? You never look awestruck. Players looking awestruck while they're playing a guy, LeBron James, the king, the GOAT. I mean, years ago, there would have been fines for that. I don't know how Ime feels about it, but if that were years ago, there would have been fines for Celtics players basically flirting with Lakers players. I mean, I don't know how to put it.
I wouldn't say flirting, but
I mean,
it's just
I don't mean it in the literal
I
sense.
just feel like in the spirit of competition, you let your guard down a bit, right? And obviously LeBron was feeling himself because of the scoreboard. Do you think LeBron does that if things were different, if he was down by 25? No. So, like, you know, being on the other side of that, maybe the Celtics weren't down by 25. I just, honestly, it was really surprising to see that. I mean, this isn't an all-star game. This isn't before, you know, this isn't a shoot-around. This isn't after the game. I mean, I just think the level of focus needs to be at a point where, like, a lot of people would say, like, they used to say in the past, and I feel like people still say, but maybe they're starting to lose touch with that, this generation of NBA players. But on the court, we're not friends. Like, that should always be the attitude. That should always be the attitude going into these games, especially when it's a team like the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
Rivalry aside, I mean, that's LeBron James, you know, arguably the greatest player in the NBA right now. Like, I just thought that it was inappropriate. It was a little bit inappropriate. But I do want to backtrack a bit because I remember Inez Freedom was mentioned, and he was the only person that wasn't engaging in it. So good for him, because I thought when the conversation was brought up, you know, Bobby and John, they were saying like the entire bench. So I thought Inez was a part of that. So that's why I sort of was just like, man, you know, you don't want to have that conversation with LeBron, but you're gonna laugh it up with him. So I was really surprised to see that, or to hear that, I should say. And then when I found out that he wasn't one of those guys, I'm like, good. At least he has his head on straight.
Or he was hiding.
At least he's that focused.
He was kind of like this.
Or maybe he was hiding. Either way, he had the right approach in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like Grant's approach too. I mean, I don't know what he said, but you could see his expression on his face. And LeBron went right down the bench, and you got Jalen, who's in street clothes. Again, I love these guys. I don't want them engaging that way. Yeah. And I know fans
I think John
today,
said it best.
How did he say?
No. John didn't say it. John posted a comment for one of our viewers that said, if KG was on that team, he would slap all of them.
Let me tell you, we
Somebody's
both know
crying
that
on
for
that
a
bench.
fact. We both know that for a fact.
Who's crying on that bench if you had to give KG?
I would say hypothetically, if KG walked in there, I think
I got one guy in mind. It's not even close.
He would snarl, and it would be Tatum.
No, who's crying on that bench? Grant.
Don't say Grant Williams. Grant Williams, I think KG would walk up to him and say, "Young fella, you need to work on a lot. You're smart."
I don't think he would say it quite like that.
You're tough. I mean, Grant Williams has been great this year. You don't think he's been great?
No, my point is, I was just saying hypothetically.
Who's the whiner?
Which one could he break?
Bring Big Baby back.
Emotionally.
No, maybe I don't think Schroeder.
That's not a knock on Grant. I'm just
No. I think maybe Schroeder. I mean, listen, KG in that game. I know for you. We know for a fact KG's opinion on the logo.
Yeah.
With Kyrie, I mean, it's supposed to sound the same thing. And
is it a mental thing, John? I mean, John.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
John.
Nick. Am I? I feel like I'm on the post game show right
Yeah.
now. Are we looking too deep into this?
No.
I mean, I just think it's one of those like. It's almost like maybe LeBron's planting a seed here, mind games. You know what I mean?
That was definitely where I was going. He was definitely trolling them, even if he was, being nice, smiley, slapping five, dapping it up, right? No, LeBron's getting in your head, and you're buying right into it, and you're not even playing in the game. But you're one of the leaders of the team, the leaderless team. So I mean, I don't want to sound like a leaderless team, but it felt that way last night, and I just don't know if the rivalry exists like it did. We say this every couple of years when both teams kind of fall off, and then it comes back. There's nothing more magical than those colors on that court. But let me tell you something. Fans, young fans, if you want to see what the rivalry is about, put on Spectrum Sports in LA. The rundown has been all day since last night, including ESPN on the rundown, has been Max and Worthy's
it's a victory lap.
Continued rivalry and Worthy's epic victory lap last night. Now, if you didn't respect Worthy, maybe we don't, he's not a Lakers fan, you respect him, but like, you don't. But I watched him play. He drives crazy once he got his confidence. But how funny is he? Like, he is like, the two of them are self-deprecating. They love their shit. And I mean, Max is livid, but in a good way.
No, in a good way, because this is the spirit of the rivalry.
This is the rivalry. It doesn't exist, so we got to manufacture it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and to his credit, Max, there was shots fired. Max started it in the sense of saying what he said about lighting that cigar and what was it? What was he gonna eat? What was he gonna eat?
He's gonna
Lakers something.
No, kick that Celtic ass. That's what you're saying. Kick that Lakers ass. Look at it right now. I'm looking at it. Honest Larry, great follow on Twitter.
So you know what?
Great follow on Twitter. Look at stupid James Worthy, and they have the shot of Max coming out. Game 7, 84, 24, 8 and 8.
But see, my point is, yeah, maybe he did that a little too premature, but at the same time,
no,
I thought the response from Max was perfect. James Worthy goes on air, lights that cigar, talking about, come on, man, don't say it, eating some Celtics, you know what? It's my line.
Eating. Why do you keep saying eating?
Eating.
Beating. Yes.
That's it, eating?
You said eating. That's gross, man. I'm just kidding. He did say eating. Beating some Celtic ass. But he was dancing around the big screen with him dunking on Max. I'm thinking, Max said it perfect last night. I rent the space in his head, maybe.
No, the thing is that Max, he killed it when he said, look, you're the one that's buying the cigar, that's Red Auerbach.
That is Red Auerbach.
Who was doing the cigar before Red Auerbach? No
he
one.
Invented it. Sway brought it up, a good point. He's like, you just got to put back the footage. It's there.
Yeah, for decades.
He invented it, right?
So I like this. I love it. Whether they're playing or not, the guys who are champions, they were not only champions, but finals MVP. Like, that's how rich this rivalry is. And it's still going on 30 years removed from their playing days.
But it's more intense than I think some of the play on the court. I think it's just fun now. There's less pressure. The play on the court just doesn't have that same feel. Now, when we got
Does it come back?
Yeah, I think whenever the teams are going to be good, the networks are going to make it come back. I mean, it's the anchor of the NBA. You know, that rivalry. The league was not as good when the Celtics sucked. It wasn't as good when the Lakers sucked for that short period of time.
Jalen's got to get in there. It's hard to believe that these two aren't going to face each other again, and we're in December. Like, I think that's the part that feels. I think that's the part that's killing Max the most. It's like I can't even talk my shit again about these two teams for another whole year because unless they face each other in the final. But you know, Worthy had the last laugh this time around. But in the grand scheme of things, I just think the NBA is missing the Celtics-Lakers rivalry, missing that chippiness.
Absolutely.
And I thought we were going to get somewhat of that, a chapter of that, Tuesday night. You look at Tatum, 14 straight points. He scored 14 straight on the Lakers. I'm like, man, this is
maybe it's here.
Another chapter.
Maybe it's here. You know, people.
I'm still holding out hope, though. It'll come
I
back.
am too.
It
will always come back. It'll always come back.
Yeah, but with these guys,
you know,
you don't think it'll come back with these guys?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. This team is so unpredictable and inconsistent and unemotional.
Yeah, but
emotionally detached, and that might be a focus.
I think Tatum is approaching that level that you're looking for.
Dude, I will tell you what, though. Like, I'm going through the arena, right? And I'm listening. And for some reason, they had Grandy and Maxwell on the radio broadcast in the arena, in the hall, in the mezzanine, like in the back areas. So I could hear Grandy, certain TVs.
Really?
Yeah, they really did. And I could hear Grandy talking. I'm watching Tatum, and I could hear that crowd in Staples. And really, I mean, again, Lakers fans just show up late, leave early. That's the knock on them. That's 40 years old. No, man, these fans are real now. They're real. And I think that our fans, the Celtics fans, would get so much more out of basketball if they embraced these rivalries. You know,
right.
And I don't know that the younger generation.
But
does
that's the thing. I think Tatum's
Tatum
starting
can
to embrace it.
He can. I mean, is
He
it
had a
against
different level of
LeBron or is it a
focus.
Celtics-Lakers thing? Or is it both?
I think it's both.
I think so.
I think it's both. I mean, obviously, there's the Kobe aspect in there. You know, obviously, playing in the Staples Center is probably still surreal to him, and maybe there's a bit of motivation there too as well. But I think he understands that he's part of this rivalry now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, he is. I mean, he's the face of it now. And really, LeBron is transitioning out. When you look at it,
He's an old soul. He's
Ooh,
one of the few
Tatum?
types. He's an old soul.
will you please explain that?
Okay.
I know what an old soul is, but in context of
In
Tatum.
context of Tatum, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is he watched Kobe Bryant growing up. You know, he respects the older generation of players, the Kevin Garnett's and the he watched basketball at a very, very young age, and he talks about that. I mean, in terms of pop culture, I mean, he loves Jay-Z. How many 22-year-olds love Jay-Z? Like,
I agree with
he has a respect for like he has respect for legends, for legacies.
Then why?
In a way that I don't hear a lot of other players talk about, or at least express.
Well, it's kind of, it used to be very fashionable to be in tune with history, and it's kind of not now, but with the player, it seems that way. But with Tatum, he does certainly know who these players are. He knows what they've done. But
I bet you if you ask the majority of 25 and under players, you know, guys that they looked up to, you know, the majority of those players are going to say LeBron James.
No,
Tatum's going to say Kobe Bryant.
But
I don't think they say Kobe. Maybe some of them, but I think the majority would say LeBron.
Kobe, you mentioned Kobe. You mentioned Pierce. You mentioned Garnett. Then, if Tatum respects Pierce, Garnett, and Kobe,
he was just cheering against those guys. That's the difference. But yeah, I think he respects them.
Say he respects those three.
He respects the rivalry.
His top three.
Okay.
How does he let some of the? I just don't understand. Like, how does he not become the captain of the team and join that?
No,
he's all concerned about legacy.
You're expecting him
legacy.
to take in or start or all of a sudden have the KG gene because he has respect for those guys. He's not that kind of leader. He's not going to get in people's faces. He's never been that guy.
I don't need him to get in faces.
He changes.
I think it's just jarring to me that, you know, take the 90s out of the equation. That's a very select, elite group of basketball players. And all I hear about from young fans trolling me, which is constant, I do love it. Especially where's my boy James? He said not worthy. My boy James, he'll be DMing me after this, telling me off about Tatum. But I just don't understand. He's so, according to you fans, obsessed with legacy. Why wouldn't you want to join an elite group with like Bill Russell and Dave Towns and Larry Bird?
He's trying to, man.
No, they denied it. Why didn't he take it when it was offered? When it was offered, you know who it was offered. Like the captainship. Why didn't they take it?
What do you mean? Ime dismissed the whole idea.
Why?
You think that they presented it to him and he said no?
No, I think he presented it to the players and no one stepped up and said, "That's me. I'm the captain."
You think that's what happened?
Absolutely. How else did it happen? He said
I think he was going to handpick two players, and he just decided that it wasn't best for this group.
Why?
Whatever reason, that's up for interpretation. I just think at the end of the day, the whole captain idea, he killed it, and I don't think
there had to be.
I don't think there's enough to jump to
say
conclusions.
something?
I don't think there's enough to jump to conclusions to say that nobody wanted to be a captain. That's why he didn't pick 2 captains.
Well, I don't know. I never had a team that, and I like this conversation. I never had a team in basketball that didn't. I never had a team in kickball. On the schoolyard, where you weren't going to want to be the captain.
But who does that? Like, what coach is like, all right, guys, who wants to be captain?
No, usually the coach names the captain, but he put it out there as 2 people in mind. And then it went around the media, didn't it? It went around to Marcus. Marcus made a comment about it. And we thought maybe Al, but like...
Well, no, we joked that it's probably not going to be Marcus. Marcus was just like, I'm going to be me no matter what. I don't need that title. So we're
and
like,
Tatum, what did Jason say? Whatever, that's up to the coach. Yeah. Like, this is behind the scenes, I hope there was like a competition for this. Like, this is an elite group take the 90s out of the equation.
I don't know if I would knock a player for not wanting to be captain. I just think it's more of a...
my goodness, you sound like them.
Yeah, because it's about you. Someone has to say that for you. You don't say that about yourself. It's like when the player's like, I should be in the Hall of Fame. No, you don't say that. Well, the reporters in the public decide.
Players do say it, but take a look back at what we posted on the History Channel last night, Larry Bird's rookie press conference. I know you're all going to call me an old fogey, but please, it was his 65th birthday. At that first press conference, he's basically saying he's the captain, even though he had to wait for Callens to retire to become the captain. So it was an honor. When he became captain, it was a damn honor. And when Larry was out of the game, Max was the captain. And the captain has to handle a lot of the referee type situations. And to me, that's perfect for Tatum because he's got to develop a relationship with his rep.
I think the definition of a captain, or at least the mindset that you're thinking of, just has faded between then and now, like between the 80s and what it was when the last captain was named from the Celtics. That was Ray John Rondo.
Pierce.
No, it was
Rondo for a year.
And how did that work out? Like,
I think that was more of an indictment on the coach than it was on the player.
But Brad didn't believe in that, and
who
7
doesn't
years
believe
later,
in captains? That's a leaderless team.
But
look at where we are.
So what? You're mad at Brad for not picking a captain? Like, I don't get it.
I never saw the Celtics without a captain. I was taken back then. I remember being with Toscano and we were like, no captains. You know what I mean? So there's no captain. They call it like people captain. Like Kareem is the captain. Paul Pierce is the truth and the captain. The captain and the truth. You want to be a legacy. I just think so. To me, some of the things just don't add up. But I'll tell you this, man. I think my obsession with Jason is just his talent is so off the charts. Like that. First of all, he can't do anything right? Because last night you see him a couple games there. His fans are going. We're the media. I think old school NBA fans are going, Jason's playing good, man. He's not shooting well, but dude, he's rebounding, he's assisting, and the Celtics are winning. And his fans are DMing me going, he was only 2 for 14 from the field, 2 for 12 from 3. I'm like, what does that matter? And now, yesterday, he tried to take the game into his hands, and man, he could have, but I watched that poor guy have no options, literally run into Anthony Davis like a brick wall because his teammates stand around and watch him. There's no movement off the ball. There's no play calling. I think everything's ISO. Has it been that way all season? You've been there with Bobby and John and Jimmy.
For the majority of the season, but in the last couple of weeks, I would say they've had a different.
Last night you wanted Tatum to come out that way. I don't discredit him. I'm proud of him. What bothers me is his teammates stood and watched him. They didn't. There's openings everywhere when they're triple and quadruple teaming him, and he can't see over the doubles and the triples because he's got Anthony Davis on him. He's running into a brick wall. In my mind, that was like, guys, this is now your time. Like, when are we going to run baselines or back screens or off-ball plays? That's got to frustrate the hell out of you covering this team. At me, it did. He's sitting here next to me calling out defensive decoys and defensive plays, and I'm like, how is he seeing that? It's pretty awesome, pretty amazing to hear, and then see it happen. How does it not drive you crazy on offense?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Lakers, like I said last night, the Lakers, when it came down to it, the bully ball, the getting points in the paint.
What we want to be.
And the Celtics, they just, it was unanswered points over and over again. But they hung around, and then the Lakers, they closed it out in the fourth quarter. And look, the Celtics approach, I think, is going to be different against the Clippers. I don't necessarily believe in the whole, if Tatum doesn't score those first 14, maybe this thing is a blowout. I just think at the end of the day, when you look at what this team has evolved into, Man, do you remember the first week of the season?
Yeah.
It was like a pickup game out there. I think they're on their way, Nick. And what I mean by that
I felt that way. I do, too.
The top of the Eastern Conference, maybe not, but finding that stride, I think it's going to be key for this team to finish out this road trip. Because look, you got the Golden State Warriors waiting for you in Boston. You have the Phoenix Suns to end this road trip. So there's going to be bigger challenges.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, I walk away from that game and I say the Celtics losing isn't as bad of a story if they win tonight against the Clippers. Now, if they blow tonight's game against the Clippers, you say, okay, they rolled over because they get up for the big games and then...
And I think that's why you saw Ime Udoka, waving the white flag with 5 minutes left to go.
There's something I liked about this, to be honest with you. It's like, you know what, guys, we're done with you. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next time.
We're going to try this again tomorrow.
I'm going to say something.
We're going to try this again tomorrow. I like that.
I've not had
I've loved Ime so far.
I've not had a voice
no
on...
complaints about you.
I've had plenty of voices on Brad, who I love. But, some of those things... But Ime, there's something I really like about him. I like that he takes the players to the side.
I like that.
I like that and Casey Jones did that. Doc did it. You take the player to the side, you give them tips and stuff. And you can tell he's starting. The players still haven't clicked together. The Celtics. They're starting to very slowly.
Yeah,
but they're clicking with their coach. You could start to see.
Yeah, but I think the camaraderie. I think they're getting it there too. The team, right? There's one part of the
starting to.
But
then you see last night.
One thing that I really like that they did it a couple times, but I mean, it's small. It's not a big deal, but it was like a dead ball, a foul or something. And they gathered in a little mini huddle, just like the 5
I haven't seen that all season.
I love that.
Yeah, it's old school.
And it's old school. And I love Robert Williams before that saying look, be on the road together, spending extra time that you don't necessarily spend. When you're at home, that helps. That helps galvanize the team, and they thought that that's what went into that huge win against the Portland Trailblazers. Look, no, Damian Lillard, all that, whatever. You tack on 150 points or damn near close to it, it doesn't matter.
Get all those
in regulation. You didn't think this offense could do that?
No,
I didn't think, at least.
No,
but they've shown that they can when they stick to the program.
I've always said I don't mind losses. When you're trying to find yourself, I don't mind losses with effort, and even the losses have come with effort. Last night aside, I'm not walking away from that going, this team is soft, like I have on some of those other ones. I walked in that game thinking LeBron James was going to annihilate them. And he tried, and this is the 40-year-old version of LeBron. We've seen the prime LeBron in Game 6 and 11. I was there. I mean, that dude, put on Jordan-type stuff, but he's still LeBron. We were thinking about a contest. We can't talk about it now. It's kind of on the classified. But let's say that Lakers and Celtics make the playoffs. I don't count LeBron and the Lakers out, dude. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, can't count LeBron James out. The other thing I noticed, guys, listening and girls, I haven't covered any games since 2019. I mean, this is a big thing, And I noticed the game is a bit more physical than it used to be.
It's good.
It's a good thing.
That's what the Lakers were doing.
Lakers were playing 90s basketball, and the Celtics really allowed them to play their Lakers basketball. So it was a clash of generations
we saw. Huh?
Yeah, man. I saw
joking around with LeBron. That was the clash of the new generation.
I saw LeBron.
Mind game from the old generation.
The Lakers they were all that paint play. I mean,
that's what Jordan did, right?
Correct
me if I'm wrong. That's what Jordan did, right? Hey guys.
Jordan.
Man, I'm beating you guys good right now, huh?
Yeah.
Man, I bet you
Bird too.
I bet you thought after Tatum scoring 14, you guys had a win here. Not so much, huh? And they're like, oh, Jordan, you're so funny. Remember, you would see highlights of people on the bench of the opposing team clapping 5, being like, oh my God, Jordan's gonna drop 60 today.
And when he came back with the Wizards in the early 2000s, his opponents were asking for his autograph.
No, that's not what we saw with LeBron, but it kind of reminds you of that. It's just like,
No, it really reminded me of the Hawks, when they got fined and they all got fined. I don't know if that'll happen today, but if I'm Ime...
Yeah, exactly. When was it? Larry dropped, 60?
Larry dropped 60.
And they're all clapping 5 on the bench.
Mike Fratello, they used to have a 2-hour practice every day, off days. He had a 2-hour practice. He played that. Now, remember, this is probably on 35 millimeter or something. He played that one play on a loop for the entire 2 hours and let them sit and watch how pathetic they looked.
Good.
And how their fans in New Orleans at that time, it was an alternate.
It was
arena.
So bad that they got kicked out of New Orleans. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But I mean, think about that. Mike Fratello, you guys probably know him as the broadcaster. He was a good coach. He was feisty. Lazar, the telestrator, he had that zoomed in.
I think that was part of it.
That was what it was. Lazar. That's how
they dropped that part by the time I had to.
Well, they dropped the telestrator part too.
That's what I'm saying. It was just Lazar.
The telestrator doesn't exist anymore. But who was on the game broadcast last night?
I don't know. Let's hear it.
Oh, that's right.
TNT, but I don't know anything about it.
I mean, again, tonight's the key. Tonight says more than last night. They showed up last night. Tatum was pumped, man. I'm thinking duel, mano y mano. I could hear Tommy Heinsohn in heaven saying, "Put down your sabers." You know, it's a duel. You know, we're Boston. And I'm thinking, man, this is going to be an epic battle. But the other guy's got to show up, and it's not necessarily just showing up. It's looking. I think Tatum could find them. He's a good passer if they get open. Yeah. So seeing it in person is so. And Josue brought this up when we were having coffee before. By the way, it's LA. It's only noon here. That you see things differently when you're in person. Man, I could see that. Like watching last night, I think. And I'll watch again tonight and keep watching for this. It's hard. You can't watch off the camera when you're on TV. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think so much of this is Tatum not being selfish. Some people thought he was selfish. I think it's more like these guys are. I mean, remember when you were playing? It's hard to compare to Pee Wee basketball, but you're playing that way.
Hey, man.
That was when you were a superstar. Yeah. So anyway, when you have nobody to pass to. When you have nobody to pass to because we're going to have to wrap this, when you have nobody to pass to because your players are all standing along the perimeter like this, or even not even paying attention,
I get that.
I know, man.
Well, you guys just want to score everything?
Yeah, and that's probably how Tatum feels in some ways. And I know I kind of sound like a young fan now, but watching it live, and I haven't seen Jason in 2 years, guys. So watching it live, I'm seeing a lot of that. Like get out from behind the three-point line.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, anyway, guys.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're down to 5% on...
Don't tell them.
Well, that's live stream, you know. The Boomer Rage.
You know how it is.
Plugged it in. The plug didn't work. Yeah, right. Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in for a midday live stream. We'll probably do a bunch tonight from Staples. You know, short stuff. And of course, the post-game show with John and Bobby. Crew back in Boston. Maybe I'll pop on tonight for a second. But really, I'm here to support this guy who kicked ass last night and is going to kick ass tonight, and I'm just going to get mad at everything and blow my head off with Boomer Rage.
You would have went on a tirade if you went
I
live,
couldn't go on post.
If you went on the post-game show,
here's the thing.
That Lakers game?
When I left, I was okay. I was kind of seething, but the Worthy thing flipped me around because it was so funny. But when you said, I saw your face, we get back to the hotel, and Josue's like, oh, you didn't see this? I don't know if I want to show it to you. And it was the players doing that. I was like, you know what? Fast forward to the end of the game. I want to see them all hugging. You know what? I don't want to. Listen, guys.
What's your mean face on, Celtics?
Real fans want what you see coming out of the studio with two 66, 67-year-old guys who battled back in the day. Get mad! Don't like each other. They want all the smoke. That's it.
Right.
We'll see you tonight at Staples. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Follow him at Joe_Sway. Me, I'm at CLNS_Nick. Of course, our Celtics Twitter handle, Celtics CLNS, which is a must follow, by the way. I think me and Sway will be manning it tonight. You'll know when I am and when Josue is.
Yes, sir.
Because you will sound cool, I will sound boom. All right, I'm out. Later, guys.
See you guys.
And now, how do you turn this crap off? Let's see here. Let's see. Okay.
You Kid Cudi?
Yeah, man.
He was struggling to turn off his live stream.
Look how bad I look in this sun. I know y'all can still hear me.